Don't slip on the trail. Don't slip on the trail.
What's up, besties? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today is not a vlog, but if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe, like the video before we get started, because clearly you clicked on it because you got some type of interest in pregnancy, wanting to be pregnant, or just figuring out what first trimester can be like for you guys. I will be sharing my first trimester experience overall. I kind of did updates week by week when it came to my first trimester, but not fully. Okay, like I didn't give my overall experience of it. And if you guys hear like water in the background, I'm outside. Okay, I just got my hair done. It is Saturday. I just got my hair done. It's actually super duper cute. This is baby girl as of now. This is her belly. Let me see if I can show y'all. This is my belly as of today. So I'm filming this and I'm actually 21 weeks pregnant right now. So yeah, I just really wanted to share my first trimester experience because I am currently in my second trimester, and honestly it has been a total different switch in experience, and I can only wait to share with you guys how second trimester has been. But let's just go ahead and talk about what's really tea. I would literally take note of how I felt each week in first trimester, mainly because this was my first time being pregnant after I had a miscarriage previously. So I was very anxious about every symptom. I was very much symptom watching just to take note of how things were going and to document my journey each week. Like every week I was like, okay, I'm 6 weeks, I'm 7 weeks, I just want to get to 10 weeks. Like that's literally how it was. So I'm about to pull up the notes. Yeah, I found out when I was 4 weeks pregnant, and oh my gosh, are my feet so long? My feet look so fat. My ankles look so fat. Oh my gosh, are they swollen? Anyways, but yeah, I found out I was pregnant when I was 4 weeks pregnant. And from that point on, I was like documenting every single symptom that I had all the way up until 13 weeks. So in the beginning, I was literally waiting for myself to feel pregnancy symptoms. Like I was like, okay, I'm 4 weeks, I'm 5 weeks. Like, where's the nausea? Where's the throwing up? Like, I wanted all of those signs to make me feel more pregnant and let me know that things were progressing. Kind of at that point, I was just mainly looking for some type of symptom that things were going well, that things were progressing. Like I said, after a miscarriage, I was super duper nervous and anxious about like everything going good this time. So I also felt like God was really with me. He's always with me, but I knew that the reason I got pregnant was because of God's timing, and that he felt like this was the time for me. So I wasn't super duper anxious as I thought I would be, but I definitely was symptom watching since 4 weeks pregnant. I was taking like a lot of pregnancy tests at this point because I wanted to see my line progression, and I promise if I show you guys my nightstand, it's like packed with pregnancy tests. And it's mainly just to document like that my pregnancy line on the test was getting darker each day because of the HCG. Now, do I recommend it? I mean, if you're feeling anxious, do it because it eased my mind, but it can get a little obsessive. So it's up to you, but that's definitely what I did. I would watch my pregnancy test get darker each day, and I probably did that for like a week and a half to 2 weeks. I didn't do it, of course, every week of first trimester, because that's like impossible. But that's what I did, y'all. I was not playing. But then once I started to hit like 7 weeks, it got real serious. And like I said, I was waiting for these certain signs and symptoms that pregnancy was progressing and HCG was getting higher. If you don't know what HCG is, it's a certain hormone in your blood when you're pregnant, the human chromosome gene. I think that's what it means. It means like you're pregnant. Okay, when that hormone is getting higher and higher, that means like things are progressing. So I started getting sick at 7 weeks. I started getting nauseous if I didn't eat. I started getting nauseous if I smelled certain stuff. I also started to get food aversions, and that's when the first trimester stuff like actually truly hit for me. And that's when I was like, oh snap, like it's getting real. Okay, the fatigue hit. It all hit around that 6.5 to 7 week period, because I started to feel like different. Like my appetite was not fully there when it came to stuff I used to eat. I used to be grossed out by meat. I literally stopped eating meat at 6.5 weeks because it honestly disgusted me. Like mainly chicken. I wasn't eating any meat. I was eating like smoothies and fruit and fries and rice, carbs, not meat. So that was the start of like the real first trimester stuff for me. But at that point, 6 to 7 weeks, I was not throwing up yet. So I'm like, okay, I got the nausea, but I don't know if I'm psyching myself out. Like it was to the point where I was like, am I really feeling nauseous, or am I just overthinking it since I'm not throwing up? Huh. You thought wrong, because 8 weeks came and the end of 7 weeks happened. Like around that time, it got real and I threw up. Starting at 8 weeks is when the throwing up started, and that did not stop until like week 13. Now granted, I was lucky. It wasn't throwing up so much to the point where I was throwing up like 4 or 5 times a day. Sometimes it may have been once a day. Sometimes I may not have thrown up a day of the week, but it definitely was there to the point where certain smells could make me throw up, or just sometimes I would just throw up. I don't know. But the 8 weeks was when the puking started, and granted, that's when I knew that I was pregnant. I always knew I was pregnant, but the throwing up made me pregnant. So 8 weeks was when that started for me, and I still, like I said, was not eating any meat at that time, and it was still so hard to eat. And the honest truth was, I started to get worried. Like, how am I going to make sure I'm eating enough for the baby and me, and I don't like food right now. Like, it was not exciting to pick out what I wanted to eat for each serving, because I'm like, I don't want anything other than a bagel or smoothie or carbs. Like, I couldn't think of anything I wanted to eat because I disliked so much stuff that I used to eat. And then like going out to a restaurant with friends or with family, I didn't want anything on the menu. So it was just so frustrating. The smells of other people's food and my food, it just wasn't mixing. I hope my curls are not dropping. It just wasn't mixing. So it was just so frustrating, from starting at 6.5 to 7 weeks all the way until I think the food aversion stopped like 12, 13 weeks. Probably around like 12, 13 weeks, I was back to eating how I wanted to eat. And that was just such a relief, because I like to eat. But during that phase of my first trimester, I was not loving eating food. Like, it was just very annoying to decide what to eat and don't know if you're gonna throw up or just not like it. So, is my curls dropping? Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? So yeah, that was just super hard in that aspect. That was probably the hardest part of it, was the food aversions, and then the occasional puking and nausea. But I was glad I was having those, because like I said, it gave me the reassurance. But the food aversions was just so tough when it came to eating and trying to make sure that I'm eating enough for the baby and me, because I always want to make sure I'm doing that. Because I think that, yeah, so once I hit the 12 to 13 mark, things started to look a lot more like clear, because I'm like, oh my gosh, Kendall, you made it out the first trimester. Like, I think the 14th week is considered the first week of second trimester, or the 13th. I wasn't sure, but once I hit 13th, I was like, oh yeah, It's lit. Okay, honey, it's lit. And it's so crazy that how towards the end of the first trimester you literally start feeling and seeing the light of feeling better. So that literally happened for me. But like I said, that 7th through 13th week was very much probably the toughest part, but it still wasn't super difficult compared to what some other women go through. I would also say the first trimester is very much sensitive. It's very fragile because I was actually on pelvic rest slash bed rest for, I would say about, I put myself on it for probably about a week and a half. Probably about a week and a half I put myself on it because at 10 weeks I did have like 1 drop of blood come out, and I went to the urgent care and they actually told me that I had SCH. I'm going to put it across the screen, but it's basically when there's a little bit of blood in the uterus, and it'll usually resolve on its own, or it'll just come out. Like a lot of women have it. I think it's like 20% of women have it. I'm like, okay. So yeah, I had that, and I honestly had noticed it on my ultrasounds all of my first trimester, but I just didn't know what it was. And until I had that like 1 drop of blood, then I understood. I'm like, okay, I do have SCH. But I saw a lot of women had it on TikTok, so it made me feel better. But I was just instructed to not lift heavy things, stay on bed rest, and just not do too much overall. So that's exactly what I did. Like, I was not lifting nothing. I was not trying to go up no stairs. I was literally trying to have my feet elevated, everybody do everything for me. Like, I was not taking that for granted. And I honestly feel like that's some of the best advice for the first trimester, is to just take it easy and let people do stuff for you. Don't feel ashamed for somebody. Yeah, don't feel ashamed for somebody calling you lazy or saying that you need to be doing A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, working out, or you need to be doing all of this stuff. Your first trimester, you need to be, move you up a little bit. Your first trimester, what is that, sis? Stop. Okay, can you stop? For real, you're getting on my nerves. Okay. But yeah, don't let anybody really tell you what you need to be doing during first trimester and make it seem like you're being lazy or you need to be getting up doing more than what you're doing, when really your first trimester you should not be doing anything but relaxing, eating, getting princess treatment, and not doing too much for your body, because that's the most fundamental part of pregnancy. Because you're getting things started in there. Your body is doing a lot of work first trimester. Just because people can't see a belly, that does not mean anything. That's one of the most crucial parts of pregnancy, where everything's getting set in and your energy is low. You're experiencing all these symptoms. It's for a reason. So the pregnancy fatigue, I don't even like to call it laziness, because it's not laziness. Like, I'm feeling tired for a reason. I'm feeling exhausted after one task for a reason. And that was a real thing. Like, I would wash the dishes, and after washing 7 dishes, I was exhausted. Like, I needed a nap. And that's not something made up. Like, it's actually real. And some people take it as a joke or want to like brush it off, but I'm the type to live a soft pregnancy life, and I'm not about to do more than what my body feels like it wants to do or needs to do at the moment. Like, I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm not trying to be the most active pregnancy person out there. I'm doing what I physically, mentally, and spiritually feel like I need to be doing for myself and my baby. So that's my biggest advice. Like, I would make sure that I did not kind of like speak that over myself and say like, oh, I'm feeling lazy. Like, I was very careful with my words, and I would say like, I'm feeling fatigued, or I'm just feeling super exhausted because of the pregnancy. Like, I wasn't able to do that. And of course people try and say it differently and say, girl, you feeling lazy, girl, you don't feel like doing nothing. Don't let that get into your mind. Still stand your ground and say, you can say what you want, but I'm pregnant. Okay, so that was just a boundary that you have to kind of like have set in your head and express to yourself. These curls are definitely dropping as I'm talking, but I'm gonna pin curl it tonight, sis. Okay, So yeah, that was definitely something I felt strongly about during my first trimester, because you're gonna feel fatigued, you're gonna feel tired, you're gonna take naps, and you don't need to feel bad for it, because you deserve it and your body needs it. And listen to your body. Like, I'm a big believer in listening to your body, and that's the most important time to do that, because I kind of fell victim to listening to, oh, I needed to work out, and I went to some yoga class, worked out. It's so many restrictions on certain things you should not be doing, especially first trimester. Certain workouts you can't do because it's too much using your core, and your core is doing something else at the time. So I went and did a little Pilates class. I'm thinking it was a yoga class. I went and do a Pilates class, and I knew some of the workouts were too strong for me, so I wasn't doing it. But I did probably like 2 or 3 that same day, or the next day was when I got that 1 drop of blood. I'm not saying that's the reason why, but it's a high chance that it could have been I was just doing too much when I should not have been, without knowing I had SCH. Because when you have SCH, small triggers like doing too much can make you spot. So that's all to say that your first trimester is a time for you and your baby, and for you to be stress free. Like, don't let people's problems get into your way and your mind of being sane, peaceful, focused, and just take this time for you, like, for real. Okay, my camera is about to die. I don't want to drag this video out too long, but all in all, this was my honest experience and feedback on being pregnant for the first time in my first trimester. This is what worked for me. This is what I have for y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I love y'all so much. I can't wait to update y'all on my second trimester pregnancy. And I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye, besties.
Tempo, yeah, yeah.